The courtroom fell into a sudden, suffocating silence as the heavy wooden door creaked open. A man in a worn police uniform stepped inside, his German shepherd trailing obediently. But all eyes shifted to the small figure on the bench, 5-year-old Emma Reynolds. Her tiny hand shot up, trembling but unwavering, pointing directly at the officer. Then, in a voice that shattered the quiet like a thunderclap, she whispered to simple words that rippled through the room, breaking the fragile calm. "Batman." Gasps echoed round the courtroom, jaws slack with disbelief. The judge paused mid-sentence, her eyes narrowing in sudden suspicion. Lawyers froze, papers trembling in their hands. Officer David Cross, once hailed as a hero, met Emma's gaze for the briefest moment, his expression flickering from calm to something darker. Whispers swelled like a rising storm as the courtroom held its breath, realizing that a child's simple words might unravel everything they thought they knew. Before you watch, please share your city in the comments and hit the like button to support this story. Your engagement means a lot to us. Milfield, Pennsylvania, was the kind of town where everyone knew your name and your family's story. With just under 9,000 residents, its streets were lined with aging maple trees, and porches bore rocking chairs that had seen generations come and go. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, American flags fluttered gently in the summer breeze, while the local diner served up the same blue plate specials it had for decades. It was a place where neighbors still brought casseroles to sick families, and the annual fall festival was a cherished tradition, drawing nearly every resident to Founders Park. In Millfield, life moved at a predictable, comforting pace, one where children played freely under watchful eyes, and strangers were greeted with friendly smiles. It was the kind of town where safety wasn't just a feeling, it was a shared responsibility. Rachel Reynolds had chosen this small town with that very hope in mind, a fresh start after a difficult divorce, a place where her 5-year-old daughter Emma could grow up without fear. But as the layers of this seemingly peaceful community began to peel back, it became clear that even the safest places could hide the darkest secrets. Rachel Reynolds was known in Millfield as a dedicated administrative assistant at the local hospital, organized, calm, and kind-hearted. At 34, she had rebuilt her life carefully after a painful divorce, pouring her love and energy into raising Emma, her bright and curious 5-year-old daughter. Emma was a whirlwind of auburn curls and laughter, fearless and friendly, a child who would approach strangers with a smile and pet every dog she met. Rachel's days revolved round Emma's world, volunteering at the libraries, reading out and singing in the community choir, all in an effort to create a safe, nurturing environment. Officer David Cross was a fixture in the town's police department, respected for his years of service and leadership in the canine unit. He was a man who carried the weight of his badge with pride, often praised for his quick thinking and dedication. His German shepherd, Rex, was equally revered, a disciplined and loyal partner with a reputation for finding lost children and keeping the community safe. Detective Elijah Monroe, nearing retirement after 35 years on the force, was known for his unwavering integrity and meticulous investigations. He was a man tired of shortcuts, but determined to uphold the law as best he could. When Emma's case re-emerged, it was Monroe who began to question what had been buried beneath layers of official reports and public praise. Together, these individuals would become entwined in a story that challenged the very foundation of trust in Millfield. It was a crisp October afternoon at the annual Millfield Fall Festival, leaves painted in fiery reds and golds, and the air heavy with the scent of caramel apples and cinnamon. Emma Reynolds, clutching her red cardigan tightly, was buzzing with excitement for the pumpkin carving contest. For weeks, she had been practicing her design, ready to show off her creativity. Rachel held her hand tightly amidst the crowd, trying to balance giving her daughter freedom with keeping her safe. But in the blink of an eye, Emma was gone. One moment she was bent over her pumpkin, tongue poking out in concentration, and the next, Her chair sat empty, a marker rolling across the table. Panic surged through Rachel's chest as she scanned the sea of faces, no sign of Emma. The festival ground froze. Volunteers formed search parties. The police were called. And the crowd's chatter turned to whispers of fear. Officer David Cross arrived swiftly with Rex, collecting Emma's hair scrunchie to pick up her scent. The dog's trained nose led them beyond the bustling tents, to a forgotten utility shed by the abandoned railroad tracks. Locked away in that small, rusted structure, Emma trembled, lost, scared, and alone lot when Cross finally opened the door and called out, "She's here." Relief flooded the air, but beneath it lingered a silence too heavy to ignore. Though Emma was physically unharmed save for a few scratches and dirt-smudged clothes, the light in her eyes had dimmed. The bright, fearless child Rachel once knew now startled at loud noises, clung tightly to her mother in crowds, and refused to wear her beloved red cardigan. Nights became a battleground of nightmares and screams, shattering the fragile peace Rachel fought to restore. Doctors and psychologists tried to piece together what had happened during those missing hours, but Emma's memories remained locked away, sealed behind silence and trauma. The official police report closed the case quickly, attributing her disappearance to a wandering child's accident, an unfortunate but ordinary incident. Officer Cross was lauded as a hero, receiving commendations for his swift action. Yet Rachel couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that something was wrong. The town breathed a collective sigh of relief and turned the page. But in Emma's haunted gaze, the story was far from over. Please comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Your support helps us keep sharing important content. Nearly 2 years later, Rachel found herself back in the Millfield courthouse, this time testifying in a warehouse robbery case she had witnessed from her kitchen window. Emma, now quieter and more withdrawn, sat beside her, clutching the worn plush rabbit. The courtroom buzzed with the usual procedural rhythm, lawyers questioning witnesses, the judge maintaining order until Officer David Cross entered with Rex at his heel. Suddenly, Emma's small hand shot up, trembling but determined. Her eyes locked onto Cross's, and in a voice that silenced every whisper, she uttered two words that shattered the calm. "Bad man." The words hung in the air like a verdict, cutting through the respect and fear that had once surrounded Cross. The courtroom froze. Judge Ellen Matthews called for a recess, and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Officer Cross's composed forehead cracked for a fleeting moment before he was led away. Rachel wrapped her arm protectively round Emma, her heart pounding. What Emma had spoken was simple, but its implications threatened to unravel the fabric of their town's trust. News of Emma's courtroom outburst spread like wildfire through Millfield. Whispers turned into heated conversations as neighbors grappled with disbelief. How could the town's respected hero be called a bad man by a child? For Rachel, it was both a moment of vindication and terror. Had her daughter just spoken a truth too dangerous to face? Detective Elijah Monroe, skeptical but cautious, reopened the cold case. He pored over old reports, interviews, and medical files, searching for cracks in the official story. The quiet town buzzed with suspicion. Eyes that once held respect now harbored doubt. Officer David Cross was no longer untouchable. Rachel and Emma found themselves thrust into a spotlight they never saw. Community members looked on with curiosity, sympathy, and at times suspicion. The walls of safety Rachel had built for her family felt suddenly porous, and the fight for a truth had only just begun. Detective Elijah Monroe had seen his share of difficult cases in his 35 years on the force, but Emma Reynolds' reawakened story struck a different chord as he revisited the dusty files. Something gnawed at him, details overlooked, inconsistencies smoothed over. The initial investigation, he suspected, had been rushed, clouded by Cross's sterling reputation. Monroe reached out to Dr. Lillian Porter, a forensic child psychologist known for her gentle yet thorough approach with young trauma survivors. Together, They approached Emma carefully. Doctor. Porter's sessions revealed cracks beneath the child's silent dark scribbles on paper, hesitant words, and fearful glances. Emma described a dark place beneath the utility shed, a space unmentioned in police reports. She spoke of a dog who tried to protect her but was beaten for it. Each revelation deepened the suspicion that Officer Cross's heroic image masked something far more sinister. Munro dug deeper into Cross's past cases, finding a pattern of missing children, all found by the same officer. Without witnesses and all with trauma symptoms, the police commendations felt hollow now, stained by the possibility that Cross had manipulated the system to cover his tracks. The loyal canine Rex, too, showed signs of distress. His reluctance to obey Cross in certain situations hinted at an unspoken truth. What emerged was a chilling portrait of betrayal, a trusted protector turned predator, a community deceived. Munro's resolve hardened. He wasn't just investigating a crime. He was unraveling a web of lies that threatened the very foundation of justice in MILFIL. The once trusted canine partner carried scars deeper than the eye could see. While Officer Cross appeared in control, the dog's shifting demeanor spoke volumes. Hesitation, subtle growls, and moments of refusal. Those who worked closely with Rex noticed his growing anxiety, a protective instinct that clashed with his handler's commands. It was as if Rex understood truths that no one else dared face. Emma, meanwhile, formed an unbreakable bond with the German Shepherd, despite her fear of dogs after the ordeal. Something about Rex was different, a silent protector who never abandoned her. She spoke to him softly, finding comfort in his steady presence. Rex became more than a service dog. He was a guardian and a living testament to Emma's trauma and resilience. This fragile connection carried a profound contradiction. Rex was trained to obey Cross, yet he instinctively shielded Emma from harm. The dog's loyalty was torn, mirroring the fractured trust in Millfield's justice system. As the investigation deepened, Rex's behavior became a silent witness, his pain and protection revealing cracks in the carefully constructed facade. Rachel watched their interaction with a bittersweet heart. Rex was wounded, much like her daughter, but together they found a flicker of hope in a dark, tangled nightmare. The dog's unwavering presence whispered of courage and healing yet to come. The rain pounded relentlessly against the windows of the safe house on Westbrook Lane, its steady drumming a stark contrast to the chaos unfolding inside. Officer David Cross was no longer the composed, respected man of the community. Desperation twisted his features into something unrecognizable. With a battered raincoat and wild eyes, he forced open the door he once held the keys to, stepping into the home where Rachel and Emma sought refuge. Inside, Rachel's heart leapt into her throat as the door slammed shut behind him. Emma clung tightly to her mother, clutching Mr. Hops, her worn stuffed rabbit. Rex, sensing the threat, growled low, his hackles raised as he positioned himself between the intruder and the frightened child. Rachel, Cross hissed, voice cold and sharp. "You don't understand. This isn't what it looks like." But his words rang hollow. The knife gleamed in his hand, a menacing reminder of the power he once wielded. Cross lunged, weapon poised, and Rex sprang forward without hesitation. Muscles coiling as he defended Emma with fierce loyalty. Gunshots cracked through the tight space. Rachel grabbed the fallen weapon from the floor, her hands trembling but resolute. "Run," she urged Emma, pushing her toward the bathroom. Cross's rage boiled over. "One more step and he dies," he snarled, pinning Rex to the ground, blood staining the dog's thick fur. Emma's tears streamed freely as she whispered, "Don't hurt him." In that moment of distraction, Rex's jaw snapped, biting Cross's knife hand. The officer screamed, his grip loosening. Rachel raised the gun, aiming steadily. "Don't move. It's over, David." The sirens wailed closer, cutting through the storm and sealing Cross's fate. The nightmare, for now, was over, but the scars would remain. The arrival of backup officers was swift, their boots pounding through the rain-soaked hallway as they secured the scene. Cross, bloodied and handcuffed, was led away without a word, his once commanding presence reduced to a shadow of defeat. Rachel sank to the floor, tears mingling with the storm outside, her arms wrapped protectively round Emma. Rex lay on a makeshift stretcher, his shoulder bleeding but eyes sharp, still vigilant even in pain. A canine medic worked quickly to stabilize the dog, whose loyalty had cost him dearly. Emma, despite her small size, knelt beside Rex, whispering reassurances, her fragile grid shining through the trauma. Detective Monroe approached Rachel quietly, offering a steadying hand. "You both did well," he said softly, the weight of the investigation pressing heavily on his shoulders. "This isn't just about catching one man. It's about healing a broken system." For Rachel, the relief was bittersweet. The man she had trusted to protect them had become their worst nightmare. Yet in the midst of darkness, Emma's resilience glimmered, a beacon of hope fueled by the unwavering bond with Rex. Though the road ahead was uncertain and fraught with challenges, one truth remained clear: together, they would fight to reclaim their lives, and their town's trust. Supporting this channel by subscribing means so much to our team. It helps us bring you more heartfelt and powerful stories. Your subscription not only motivates us, but also helps spread awareness about stories that matter. Thank you for being part of our community. The news of Officer David Cross's arrest sent shockwaves through Millfield. For some, it was a painful betrayal. A man they had trusted, a symbol of safety, now exposed as a predator. Conversations in diners, church gatherings, and schoolyards grew heated, divided between disbelief, anger, and sorrow. How did we miss the signs? Neighbors whispered, grappling with their own guilt. Meanwhile, the police department faced intense scrutiny. Internal investigations unearthed troubling evidence, complaints about Cross dismissed without follow-up, suspicious gaps in reports, and a culture of silence that protected one of their own. Two senior officers were suspended, accused of covering for Cross and ignoring red flags. The once respected Millfield Police Department was unraveling publicly, its reputation tarnished by the failings of those sworn to uphold the law. For Rachel and Emma, the community's fractured response only deepened their sense of isolation. While some offered support, others questioned the family's motives, and whispers of too little, too late haunted their days. The town's veneer of safety cracked, revealing a deeper rot, a system willing to overlook the suffering of its most vulnerable. Rachel found herself caught in a relentless storm of media attention and whispered judgment. Headlines painted Emma's story as sensational, sometimes questioning the family's role in reopening old wounds. The glare of public scrutiny weighed heavily on a mother desperate to protect her daughter's fragile healing. Emma, too, felt the pressure. At school, friendly faces shifted to wary glances. Some parents kept their children at a distance. Rachel watched helplessly as her once vibrant daughter withdrew further into herself, retreating from a world that now seemed filled with suspicion rather than safety. Despite the heartbreak, Rachel refused to give in. With the support of Dr. Porter and Detective Monroe, she fought to shield Emma from the worst while pushing forward the search for justice. Each day was a battle not just against the scars left by Cross, but against a community struggling to reconcile the darkness hidden in its midst. As the investigation dug deeper, unsettling truths began to surface. Officer Cross was no lone predator. Tangled in the shadows was a network of corrupt officers who had quietly enabled his crimes. Detective Monroe uncovered encrypted communications, hidden meetings, and a web of silence that stretched beyond Millfield's borders into neighboring counties. The betrayal cut deeper when Rachel learned that a trusted colleague from the hospital, someone she had confided in, had close ties to the scandal. This revelation fractured her remaining trust, turning personal grief into a cold, fierce determination. The system meant to protect was compromised at every level. Dr. Lillian Porter, working alongside Monroe, helped Rachel and Emma navigate this new storm. Emma's trust had been shattered once again, but the support of those who believed her gave her strength. Rex's struggle with PTSD mirrored the scars left by betrayal, silent, painful, and requiring careful healing. Rachel faced a painful choice: to confront the broken system head-on or retreat into the shadows for safety. The stakes were higher than ever, but so was her resolve. Together with Monroe and Porter, she prepared to shine a light on the darkness lurking beneath the badge. Rex's fierce loyalty came at a cost. The once confident canine began showing signs of deep psychological distress, startling at sudden noises, hesitating on commands, and displaying moments of aggression that unsettled his handlers. Dr. James Benson, a veterinary behaviorist, diagnosed him with post-traumatic stress, a wound invisible but no less real. Faced with this reality, the department made the difficult decision to retire Rex from active duty. But for Rachel and Emma, parting with the dog who had become their protector was unimaginable. A special arrangement was made. Rex would leave the badge behind and become a permanent member of their family, a living symbol of healing and hope through patience and love. Rex began a new chapter, one where his role shifted from police partner to guardian and friend. His presence offered Emma a path toward recovery, proof that even in the darkest times, loyalty and compassion could endure. Millfield gathered on a crisp autumn morning, the town square filled with faces marked by grief, resilience, and cautious hope. The Emma and Rex's Law, a comprehensive reform package aimed at protecting children and ensuring accountability within canine units and law enforcement, was set to be signed into state legislation. It was more than just policy, it was a promise born from pain, a commitment to change. Rachel sat in the front row, flanked by her parents and community members who had stood by her side. Though Emma was absent from the formal ceremony, her presence was felt in every word spoken. Judge Ellen Matthews, once stern and unyielding in the courtroom, now spoke with warmth and conviction, acknowledging the bravery of a child who dared to speak truth. Detective Monroe, recently promoted to lead a new Special Victims Integrity Unit, vowed to continue the fight against corruption and abuse. Dr. Porter stood nearby, smiling softly as she watched Emma's resilience inspire the crowd. Rex, retired but beloved, donned a therapy dog vest, his calm demeanor a living testament to healing. The ceremony closed with applause that was as much a release as it was celebration and acknowledgement that the road to justice was ongoing. But the first steps had been taken. In this moment, the fractured town glimpsed unity, empowered by the courage of one little girl and the loyalty of her steadfast companion. As the crowd dispersed, Rachel felt a quiet determination settle in her heart. The battle was far from over. New challenges awaited, and the shadows of corruption still loomed. Yet Emma's strength, the support of allies like Detective Monroe and Dr. Porter, and the healing presence of Rex offered a beacon in the darkness. Emma, still small but growing wiser each day, dreamed of becoming a canine trainer or veterinarian, roles where she could help others heal as she had. Rachel knew that their journey would be marked by setbacks, but with every step forward, they reclaimed a piece of their lives and their community's trust. Under the soft glow of the evening sun, mother and daughter stood hand in hand, ready to face the future together, resilient, hopeful, and united. To support our team, please subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends and family. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment sharing your feelings about the story. We want to hear your thoughts, and if you want to see a part 2, your engagement helps us continue telling important stories that touch hearts and inspire change. Thank you for being with us on this journey.